Sit down and heal with Coach Derek. Let that old pain breathe and we air it. You already know that you need to heal. Let me show you how. Turn the volume up, talk it out right now. Sit down and heal with Coach Derek. You picking through, can you feel it? You already know that you need to heal. Let me show you how. Turn the volume.
Welcome to another episode of the Sit Down and Heal podcast. My name is Coach Derek, and I am your host. I'm a certified healing journey coach and relationship coach, which means I bridge you between the two. We don't give you dating advice here before we check on your healing first. So this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so every episode that we're doing this month, with a total of 4, we're going to do specifically about mental health and how it applies to your love life, your dating, your relationships. And tonight's episode is going to go kind of deep. We're going to go kind of deep because we're talking about anxiety, overthinking, and emotional instability while you're dating. And some of y'all need to sit down and heal first before you go outside. And some of y'all can't help yourself because you can't sit down in the house and get it right while you dating. So we're going to talk about this. My overthinkers are in the building. My anxiety folks are in the building. I always see red flags in everybody because I'm scared is in the building. But you're still outside. So now, I got some notes over here because I will ramble my behind off. So we're gonna do, a hybrid show. I'm gonna do some rambling, and then we're gonna go back to notes, and then I'm gonna ramble some more. But it's gonna make sense in the end, I promise you. So, anxiety, these are stuff I wrote, type. We don't write anymore, do we? Anxiety doesn't just live in your mind. It changes how you communicate, how you interpret situations, and how you behave in relationships. Many people aren't reacting to reality. They're reacting to fear. But a lot of, what I find interesting, when you see people that you can visibly see and hear or talk to that have anxiety about dating, and I'm like, that's fear. And they're like, I'm not afraid of anything. And I'm like, stop it. Because it's not you. It's your inner child. So let's talk about this, y'all. So what does this anxiety look like? How does it show up? How does relationship anxiety show up, and what does it look like? A lot of people don't realize that they're dating and dealing with anxiety because they think anxiety only means panic attacks or nervousness. But we're going to give you some more context so we can parse this out. So make sure, if you're watching this live, share this out with your friends. Because y'all be talking about stuff, but y'all don't be fixing stuff. Let's get to the fix, y'all. So now, relationship anxiety often looks like obsessive thinking, fear of uncertainty, right? And so when you have a fear of uncertainty, you try your best to control it. People pleaser. We coming for y'all. Emotional hypervigilance and a constant need for reassurance. If y'all have been on some of my other shows, that last one, there's an attachment style that goes along with that. Anxious attachment. A lot of times it comes from abandonment wounds. So I help you piece the puzzle together so we're not dealing with this chaos in our brains while we're dating, while we're in a relationship. You can learn about yourself and understand things better so that you can move around within the dating and relationship better so you're not so afraid to try. But some people want to be in a relationship, but they're afraid to try. So they'll say things that they don't mean. So for an example, a lot of times people say, I'm happy single, but they're still dating, right? They'll say, because a lot of them, right? So I'm not talking about people who are just, they're cool being in their own skin. I'm saying you want a relationship, but you refuse to try, right? There's things and tools that you can learn that I can help you with to help you become a better dater so that you don't fear what people will do to you you will know how to move around when it doesn't feel right. So now, this anxiety is the inability to emotionally relax inside of a connection. So it's when you start liking the person and the pinky toe starts to shake in your shoe when you get a hug, and you be like, ooh. Now you like it, but you scared at the same time. What do? Don't want to leave, but I'm scared. I don't know what they're gonna do to me. What if they hurt me? What if they lie? What if their brain is but I can't go nowhere because then I'll be by myself. Who wants that, right? So what I teach you here is to be okay by yourself before you even try. So now, you may, if you're like this, right? If you have, if you are an anxiety dater, this is some of the things you might do. You may overanalyze every single text message and try to dissect what it means. Because you know y'all don't talk on the phone no more, right? You like trying to figure out what's the motive. Where is this a lie? I don't know. Your brain, every time I do like this, that means you're doing too much. So the brain, you're doing a lot. But now here's a word that you normally don't put together with this. Your brain, while it's doing all of this, is trying to be in control of it. Control. You want to control it. You want to stop the hurt before it happens. But even without any evidence that it might happen, your brain is already doing the work. Right? So here we learn how to relax that anxiety and take a calmer approach because you're more attuned with yourself. You're more aware of yourself. So it doesn't have to be crazy and anxious all the time. You're moving more with your logical brain than that soft, emotional inner child that's driving. They've been driving your whole life. You just haven't put the language around it, right? So now you watch for changes in their tone, right? And we call this emotional monitoring. You're looking at their moods and their body language. And you're looking at all this stuff, trying to figure out when the ball gonna drop. You know, once upon a time in a land far, far away when I was a younger lad, right? And I was out there dating, I would always get this thing that says, I enjoy spending time with you. Not just one, not just five, right? I enjoy spending time with you, but you're too kind. Something's gonna happen. I don't like this feeling. It's like I'm not used to being treated like this. Oh my God. Like what? Something you're gonna hurt me. And I'm like, damn. We only went on one date. What the heck? Because it's always on you. Always calculating. Always trying to figure out if somebody's kind to me, something's wrong. I'm not used to this. So I'm going to sabotage it. So I can guarantee that I don't feel anything or get hurt. Imagine that. Imagine you did that with everyone you met and you're in the dating pool. Your brain's on fire every week for no reason. Because if it doesn't align with you, it move around. It's just that simple. Once you have the healing on you, it's not simple when you have trauma wrapped all around you like a blanket and you walking outside like, oh, that angst, that anxiety, the predators can see it too. I'm trying to tell y'all, that don't mean you don't have the anxiety. But when you achieve a level of peace through the healing journey, it's not so frantic, right? Frantic is like a smoke signal to a narcissist or a predator. They can feel it. They can watch you. They can see what the hell. People pleasing a lot of times comes from anxiety that someone might leave you, right? Here's a factoid of the day. Most narcissists are looking for people pleasers, anxious attachment, and empath. And a lot of us are all of them. That's why it's so easy to find you. Wink, wink. Write that down in your notes. So now, you might also assume that distance means rejection. Somebody say, I need some time to myself. I'm gonna be in a man cave, and you just go off. Because a little kid inside of you thinks you're being left. And all they're saying is, I just need some me time real quick. I'll be back. And we ain't talking about leaving for no week or nothing like that, y'all. Because y'all be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and take a couple of weeks away from you. Stop doing that, y'all. Y'all be in a whole relationship taking breaks like you single. So anyway, I digress. You also feel emotionally unsafe even when nothing is technically wrong. So we're going to do this show not on the podcast, but we're gonna do the cognitive distortion show because that's what this part right here is that you feel unsafe because you're assigning things to people and projecting things that aren't really true. Your mind makes it up based on your past, not your present. So now, anxiety turns neutral situations into emotional emergencies. This is the trauma responses, right? All of the stuff we learn here, it all comes full circle, right? It's all a part of the same map. We just got to find the route to get you where you need to go. Damn, that was good. So now, if anxiety turns a neutral situation into an emotional emergency, what if you like that with everybody you date? Is it them? Right? And here in these TikTok streets, oh, you're the common denominator. Sure. But common denominator is really about pattern recognition. Because some of us will say, I was the common denominator, and then you hard stop. And then you do it again. You don't do anything to work on it or fix it. And that's what we do here at Sit Down and Heal Coaching is we help you put the puzzle together so that you're not so frantic all the time. Right? So now, we go into my favorite part. Those of us who overanalyze everything, not just one thing, but everything. You know how nerve-wracking that has to be to overthink and overanalyze everything. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ain't going to catch it all. You're not going to catch it all. You're going to want to. Why? Because control. You want to control whether you get hurt or not. If anybody has that magic recipe, right, other than isolating and never meeting another human being, let me know what the recipe is for never getting hurt because you're just that smart to find everything. You're not. But what you can do is heal enough to where when it doesn't feel right, the sensors are heightened now because you're not listening and dealing with people from that inner child. The grown-up you is watching now. So you're going to, that don't feel. Sometimes it's feel. Sometimes it's energetic. It's not even words. It's not even what you see. It just doesn't feel right. Those sensors increase when you got that healing on you. Healthy healing, healthy boundaries, healthy standards, healthy deal breakers. You turn into kind of what I call a superhero because now you're not just listening and seeing, you're using your other senses, right? And then you be like, something just don't feel right. Yeah, that's the healing. So now, an anxious mind struggles with uncertainty. This is the control. You need to be certain, right? And you'll drive yourself crazy. Here's the interesting part about this. You want to control uncertainty, right? For whatever your method is, but you still don't leave when you see the things that are uncertain. You may not even speak up for yourself when you see the inconsistencies. You stay anyway. And then 5 years later, you're like, I didn't know. You did. You just didn't want it to be true. And I always tell you this all the time, guys. The way that you know this is if you think about a relationship that you had that was over a certain amount of years, and if you honestly asked yourself, when did I know? It won't be a month ago. It'll be close to the beginning. So those of y'all are like, I never saw anything in 20 years. And I'd be like, stop it. Let's sit down and talk. Because something didn't feel right. Something made you do the Scooby-Doo, and you turned your head to the side, and you was like, and then that's when let me tell you, so let's do this. I'm gonna do a little, give me hold on. Let me, wait, it's coming. So now, when you get that Scooby-Doo moment where something that, and watch what I do. When that happens, and you do that side head, and you got that little, something's not right, guess what happens? The inner child takes over. So when you do the side head, the inner child puts it back and says, nah, we stay. I want to do a quick mic check. Does my mic sound unclear? So I'm going to keep going. So the anxious mind struggles with uncertainty. So instead of waiting for clarity, it creates stories, right? This is the cognitive distortion I was talking about. We create stories and we run with it. Even in the dating phase, we just run with it. And it's highly dysfunctional to paint a picture of something that doesn't exist. That's your past talking, not what your current grown up eyes are seeing. That's the inner child being triggered in real time. And we have to understand the difference. Now, that doesn't mean you're supposed to be with that person. That just means your mind is playing tricks on you. It's not real. Now, if you have real evidence of something, that's one thing. But to make it up in order to protect yourself could be highly dysfunctional. These are things we got to work on. So examples of this are, why did they like my post but not text me? Yeah, I'll be going crazy over these. I saw you on social media, but you didn't text me. We try to police all the behavior because we're trying to see when the ball gonna drop. It's the unfortunate thing about cell phones and texts and social media, especially if you link to someone or you're dating a relationship. You be like, I'm busy, and then you be on live. They can see all your movements, and you just may not have the capacity to have a conversation right now, but you want to go and like a few posts and scroll in your free time, and they be like, I saw you like that person, and they be like, why didn't you text me back? It's been 5 minutes. That the brain be doing a lot. And then that one action will create a conflict. And then that conflict starts a path of a lot of conflicts because you can't breathe when you think that person might leave you and all they did was hit like. I'm not saying like on like someone of the opposite sex. They might have liked a picture of some puppies and they're like, you like those puppies better than you like me. And they go off. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. Another one. Why did they say okay instead? Oh, I know. Oh, this one right here. You know how people normally will put this is how the brain how if you're an overthinker, this is how your brain works. If somebody always texts you okay and they put a heart behind it, and then one day they say okay without the heart, you start spiraling. Like, oh my God, where's the heart? Was something wrong? Oh my God, where the heart? You didn't put you said okay, but you didn't put the heart. And then you go insane because of that one thing. And even if they say, oops, my bad, I was rushing, I didn't put the heart, but you I'm here. I'm like, I'm right here. And they're like, but that heart though, I'm gonna need that back for my reassurance, anxious attachment. This is what this looks like in real life, y'all. And a lot of times this happens with people that you just met, strangers. You putting a lot of steam and smoke on somebody you don't even know yet. It's a lot. That brain does a lot. That overthinking brain attached to the inner child, attached to the trauma, attached to the trauma response, you're going to be analyzing everything to make you feel safe. Emphasis on everything. Do you understand how daunting it is for your brain to do this every day? And because it's related to trauma or a wound, it becomes your priority over everything. You have to make this okay before you can focus on going to work or doing the novel things that you have to do for yourself in life or your family. You got to make sure that that heart comes back on that text before you can breathe. Isn't that wild? How this trauma and the wounding works? Like, it be on you. So now here's another learning point. So just take everything I just said just now about the overthinking, the overanalyzing, right? Think about this. This is not just in your head. This is how you behave. This is how you behave and react to the stimuli. In this case, the heart wasn't at the end of the okay in the text, right? So you're going to react. Pay attention to where I'm going with this. You're reacting to a trigger, right? The person that you're dating or in a relationship has to experience your reaction to the trigger. Your reaction says anxious attachment, anxiety, constant need for reassurance. So if I was a narcissist, if I was a player, I pegged you as an extremely needing reassurance person. So now, if you are that person without any boundaries, without any regulation of yourself because you didn't get coached by Coach Derek, they pegged you. So now, if I ever do something you don't like, you're going to over try to fix it. And I'm just going to sit back like this. Thank you. Keep trying. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to train you to be okay with the inconsistency. I'm going to train you to be okay with my absence. And you inside will be insane and you will people please me to death. You will over nurture me to death. You will always try to fix it. That is why you don't see the red flags. Oh, I hope y'all paying attention. When you start lashing out like this, it's a smoke signal for them to come and get you. Okay? Some of y'all gonna get it, some of y'all won't. Y'all gonna be on Narcissist number 17 talking about, I didn't know. Y'all better come get some coaching. You know why I say number 17? Because your anxious attachment in your empath party, you can't sit still. You need somebody to love by any means necessary. Y'all think I'm crazy. So now, what's happening to you psychologically when you're like this? Your brain is trying to protect you from emotional pain by scanning for danger, overly scanning for danger, right? You start treating assumptions like facts. Remember I said that earlier. I'm always ahead of my notes because I lived this. When you let me give y'all some of me, because the download just came. And when I say download, those of you guys who are here for the first time, when I get a download, that means I got some information or an epiphany that came through the ball head, and now I have to let it out, right? So now, a little bit of me in how I became a coach that it's so astute and like quick to like understand your patterns and things like that, it came from me being like this, scanning, but like super hyper vigilant with scanning for different moods and body languages and emotional scanning and making sure that I can catch you before you catch me. I did it so intensely for so many years that now, like when I coach you, I'm like, there's a problem. Hold on, stop the sentence. I see what it is now. Those people who have talked to me before, they'll tell you, like, I'll figure it out while you're in mid sentence, and I don't even need the whole story. That's why when you message me, I'm like, don't type your whole story. Let me lead you because I'm quick. It was born out of pain. It was born out of trauma. I overanalyzed like a damn NASA engineer, pun intended. Oh, I'm a damn good engineer because of this skill set. So, um, overthinking is often your mind trying to create certainty where there isn't any. These are our fixers. You want to take some uncertainty and you want to fix it. You know what happens to a lot of people who tend to be like empaths? We gravitate to people because when we absorb their emotions and their energy or whatever, we can see where the problem is, and then we start to feel empathy for them. We like, I get it. I understand why they like that. I understand why they're abusive. I'll take it because I get them. Stop it. Y'all better get this coaching and stop playing. So now we're gonna talk about a type of person that the category that I fit into and a lot of people that come here fit into. The fear of being replaced or abandoned is real high. The anxious attachment is real high. The fear of not being enough. That's my wound. The fear of losing connection, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of betrayal. What if all of that was on you? Fear. Notice fear, 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 but you're also in the dating pool. You're going to be in for a rough ride if that's front facing. See, all of those things I just named, you don't even realize that it comes out in your behavior. That's how they find you. Y'all better. Y'all know once upon a time in a land far, far away, it wasn't easy. I mean, it wasn't hard to find people like this because your fears show up in how you behave and how you move and how you treat me. And you don't even realize you're doing it because it's subconscious. You're like, oh, wait, I did that. Yeah, you did that. So how it shows up when you have this abandonment wound, clingy, constant checking in all the time. You're supposed to go to the store. It's supposed to take 10 minutes and it took you 12. Your brain does a lot. Jealousy, like extreme amounts of jealousy, needing immediate responses. Y'all know when them texts and them calls don't come back in 2 minutes, you'll be like, what's going on? You with somebody right now? They be like, I was in the bathroom. No, you wasn't. Who's there with you? Ooh, y'all know. Difficulty giving people space when they need it. Imagine being in a dating pool like this, y'all. Some of y'all don't have to imagine. It's all over you. You mean? And then this is what y'all say. I keep attracting the same type of person. Yeah, you do. People that's looking for traumatized people, they're going to find you because you don't even realize that you have a scent. And I can help you with this, but you got to ask for it. Because the one thing I don't do as a coach is I don't chase people who don't want to help. I just provide a platform for you to dive into when you're hungry enough for change. So now, many people aren't reacting like this to their current partner. They're reacting to old emotional wounds. I wonder who talks about this all the time. Me. It's not normally about your partner. It's about your past. Remember that I did that show where I said, when you react at a level 2, that's what they deserve, but you're reacting like at a level 10 or 20, that's your past. It's too much. It's a lot of pain and wounding there that doesn't even belong with your current partner. And then what we do is when we react at that 10, because it's our past, when we're constantly checking in, we jealous of everything. You wearing that outside? What the heck? When all of that triggering happens, what you don't realize is happening is that when you react to being triggered, that you're also triggering them. We don't think about that. We worrying about ourselves. Do we feel good? Are we okay? Are they going outside to meet somebody else? I don't know. Let me look at your phone. Okay, what did we do? When you lash out that way, you're also triggering them. And then you wonder why they're responding to you a certain way. Because this is what y'all do. Oh, let me tell you. Ooh, let me do this. Some of y'all know about passive aggressive, but some of y'all in this state are aggressive passive, right? So what happens is you will get rah, 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 where did you go? Rah, 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 right? And then when they be like, whoa, why you talking to me? What's going and you be like, I don't know why you reacted like that. I just simply asked you, what time he was getting home. And they be like, you didn't use that voice the first time. Like, what the heck? And now the person who received it look crazy because they like, what? You didn't. And they be like, I don't know why you so sensitive. I was simply just asking you, where you been. No, what? You was yelling the first time. No, I wasn't. That was in your head. Or the gaslight. But it's a real thing. And y'all know it's real because some of y'all been this person. So don't play me. So the anxiety cycle in the relationship looks like this. Something small happens. And then you have people who would have a delayed response, a different tone. They pay less attention, right, to you. So these are the things that would trigger you. Someone having a delayed response to you. Someone that has a different tone. Tone is big for some of us, right? That tone just makes us black out when somebody starts to raise their voice a little bit. Somebody's giving you less attention, trigger. Now your brain is going crazy, right? Now, once that trigger, I need for y'all, you know what? Y'all need to, and those of y'all that are on the audio or whatever, I'm about to give y'all, I'm gonna take y'all on a journey. So we got to fly to the land of make believe. All right, we landed. So now we're going to paint a picture for you. And you guys need to follow where I'm going with this. And I may have to do a separate show about this specific thing because this is how your brain works. When you have someone have an elevated voice, they give you less attention, but you don't know why. We haven't figured that out yet. They have a delayed response when responding to things that you're asking them. Trigger, right? Inner child, right? That's not in the notes, but I'm putting it in there. Then the next thing that happens once the trigger happens is that your mind activates, right? Your nervous system activates and it starts to create a story in your mind of why, right? So now, here's the point. You didn't ask them why yet. Your brain is trying to calculate why because you have trauma, right? So now your brain is like, something's wrong. They're pulling away. I'm about to get hurt. Fear. Now, once that fear kicks in, now you have to kind of respond to it. So now fear, panic, insecurity, right? Attachment styles, insecurity. Sadness could overwhelm you because you think something's about to happen. You think something's about to happen because something triggered you into this trauma response. So now your reaction to this sometimes could look like starting an argument, or you start to withdraw emotionally because you're scared, or you start to become controlling because you want to fix the narrative so that you can feel safe. Notice none of what I said has even involved the other person yet. This is all in your head. They could be wrong or not. You don't know this yet. So if you don't know, then what is making you feel all of this angst? It's your past. It doesn't even belong in the room, but you'll make it true to protect yourself. This is why the awareness that you get with the healing journey is important, because it also makes you conflict better instead of just reacting to everything. Right? So the consequence of all of this is that your relationship becomes very tense, which then reinforces the anxiety, and it becomes a loop that never ends until you break it. So sometimes the answer is better communication, healthier communication. Sometimes you might have to leave, but just having that going on all the time is not healthy for your partner or you. The anxious reaction often creates the very instability that you fear. Y'all, is this thing on? Y'all got to realize that sometimes we create the thing that we're afraid of. Let me give y'all people that are in the dating pool. Let me tell y'all how this works. When you have this notion in your head, we hear it online all the time. The dating pool has P, right? I talk about this all the time. It's ghetto in the dating pool. Everybody is bad and they're out to get me. Everybody on the planet Earth. Oh my God. I'm so afraid that I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to try though. What if they hurt me though? What if they lie, right? I talk about this a lot. Then what happens is you go into the dating pool with all of this negative angst and fear. And then the narcissist smells it on you. Yeah, she gonna definitely do too much. She definitely gonna do everything I want her to do because she's scared. All I gotta do is just not leave. She gonna do everything I want to do. And then boom, damn it, I met another narcissist. Coach Derek said narcissists are looking for the what if they people. And I went in there and I did it again. And then once you meet them and you realize that they're not supposed to be with you, this is what you do. See, I was right. The bad people are there. And it becomes a cycle. You've confirmed your own bias by how you participated. And if you actually peel back the layers, you'll find a person who didn't have great boundaries. They didn't really know what they wanted. They just had a little kid that didn't want to be alone. And the dating pool is at fault because you were chasing something to fill your abandonment wound. So I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying there's a path that led you there. And in the comments, Tara's saying until they meet one of your graduates, they see it's not going to work with this one. That's all I'm telling y'all. Y'all think I'm playing. Sometimes you got to get a different set of eyes to help you move forward. Because in your head and how you move has not been working. Your life is proof of that. Who you dated, who you married, who you divorced is proof that it's not currently in your head, or else you would be moving smarter, right? Not perfect, but better. Oh, we're going to run through the rest of these. It's a lot. So now we're going to talk about emotional instability versus emotional awareness. It's a major distinction, right? Emotional instability is acting immediately on every feeling, letting emotions control your behavior, right? And this is all the little boy and the little girl, wink, wink, inner child. Constant emotional highs and lows is instability. Now, when you're more aware, you recognize emotions without immediately reacting. Now, think about it for a second. Like, wait, understanding and becoming aware of your triggers, you learn that here too, guys. Communicating calmly instead of impulsively. Some of us still got some work to do, but we be trying to handle it better. Feelings are real, but they're not always accurate. I need for y'all to catch that one. Feelings are real, but they're not always accurate. So what that means is sometimes the way we feel is attached to something else, like our childhood, a trauma, a wound, a past relationship, PTSD. So it feels real, but it may not belong in the room that you're in. And that's the distinction that you learn once you start to become more aware. Once you start working on yourself in the healing journey, you'll realize that some of that stuff is misplaced. So now, how that anxiety creates problems that don't exist. And I'm going to gloss over this because I kind of indirectly did this one. Anxiety fills blanks with fear. So let me tell you something. So another download just came out. So anxiety fills blanks with fear, right? So now when you see, here's something that you can relate to. When you see on social media, right? Or you see some of these people that are very popular and you'll see, and I'll just say coaches, right? Like let's say relationship coaches, and they'll have like 10,000 women, 5,000 women, like a male coach. And a lot of times, a lot of people, and I'm not going to just say gender, are looking to fill in the blanks to make them feel better, right? Because maybe their brain is probably trying to fill in the blanks. And so a lot of times what these coaches do is they'll just throw anything in the blank, whether it's right or wrong, so that you could feel better about feeling bad about the thing instead of working on it and working through it. They'll just give you something, and this is how you know what I'm saying is true. This is where the man versus woman war that we see online sometimes, everybody just trying to find someone to blame, a way to fill in the blanks so I don't feel so hurt if I can put it over there. If I can put it over there and say it's their fault, then now it takes the onus off of me to work on me. And so that means the fight is never going to end, because now the person that you're blaming is being triggered, and now they got to create another live talking about you and your gender. Because I'm not to blame either. Well, if nobody's to blame on either side, what are we doing? We got to take accountability for our actions. Yes, I stayed too long in that relationship, and I shouldn't have. That's on me. It takes a lot to say that. But once you own it, now you know what to work on. So when communication is unclear, anxiety assumes the worst case scenario. Ooh, I've been through some of these relationships where the catastrophizing, oh God, the cognitive distortions, we got to do that. Assuming the worst, catastrophizing everything. Your brain is playing tricks on you. It's not true all the time. So your brain does this. It distorts the truth, and it says, oh, they closed the door a little harder than they normally do, so that means they don't like me. They hate me. They must be losing interest. They're probably talking to someone else. I knew this would happen. Reconfirming your bias, right? So you begin responding to imagined scenarios instead of reality. This creates conflict, distrust, emotional exhaustion, self-sabotage. Anxiety will have you fighting battles your relationship wasn't even having. I swear to y'all, I'll be talking about this every week, but y'all don't be listening to me, right? So now, this is also what I talk about, how exhausting it is to overthink all the time. There's fatigue that comes along with that. You're constantly anticipating problems, monitoring behavior, looking for signs, replaying conversations all the time. It's your trauma response. It's your need to control. It's all over you. The emotional cost is that you probably lose sleep. You'll have emotional burnout, mood swings, difficulty enjoying the relationship because you're always trying to find a flaw. This is a lot for a lot of people. And some people got to go to therapy, get on medication just for this, because it's a lot. So now, what we need to do to kind of counteract some of this, because we're going to slowly start to decline the plane and land it eventually. You want to communicate instead of spiraling out of control, right? Healthy communication. One of the healthiest shifts a person can make is to stop assuming and start communicating. There's a lot of information that you can get just from trying to communicate and understand, and then you get to sit back and watch how that person reacts to you instead of you being the reactive person. You get to sit back and see if it's something you need to leave, work through, stay, not stay. Those open-ended questions that we learn in my workshops, like they work inside relationships too. This is big, but I teach you how to do this too here. Instead of testing people, acting distant, playing guessing games. Ooh, the mind reading. Ooh, once upon a time in a land far, far away, somebody asked me what where did you want to eat? And I was like, I don't know. Do you have any ideas? And they was like, no, I want you to say. So I said the place, and they was like, mm-mm, we're not in sync. You were supposed to think of the same place I was thinking of. So I don't know. I thought we were more in sync than this. I just don't understand why you wouldn't have picked the place that I was thinking of too. How the hell am I? You know what? Let's keep going. So once you build some awareness, right? Then you start to say things like, because you now have more language, once you get coached by me, wink, wink, I'm feeling anxious right now. Can we talk about this? I think I may be overthinking. You know how many years it took me to be able to like verbally say this instead of just doing it? You gotta train yourself not to react. Because my overthinking, y'all know me. It's not just in relationships, it's on everything I do. I be like, calm down, Derek. Sometimes I gotta get people in my life to tell me stop, like Coach Tanya and Tyra and all the folks that graduated. They were like, Derek, you're doing too much. I need you guys. So um vulnerability creates clarity and avoidance creates confusion. So we gotta really vulnerability is hard for a lot of us, right? But imagine if you was in a place where you were very aware, very in control for the most part of how you move. The vulnerability doesn't seem so weird because you've already owned it. It's when we don't own it, we're afraid of how people are going to judge it, right? What you learn here is to try your best to live unapologetically about who you are. Then vulnerability doesn't seem like it's such a daunting thing because what can they really do to me because I have my peace without you. So now here's a few tools that you can use as we start to land. Pause before reacting, even if it's just for a few seconds when you feel it welling up in you. Don't respond in the peak of that emotional response. You have to get trained to do this. It's not just going to happen. Reality check your thoughts. Ask, what facts do I actually have? Am I assuming or do I know? You regulate your nervous system. And if you're in my group coaching, we did a whole masterclass on grounding, deep breathing, walking, grounding exercises, taking space before responding, right? So these are the people that's like, I really want to discuss this, but just give me a few minutes. And then they kind of take some time before they come back. Stop seeking constant reassurance. Learn to soothe yourself emotionally instead of relying entirely on another person. So that part right there is very key. When you rely on another person to emotionally regulate you, that means you don't have the skill set to do it yourself. And you learn how to do that here at Sit Down and Heal Coaching. So don't play yourself and keep rescheduling your healing journey when you know you need it now. You already know you need to heal. Let me show you how. Y'all, I'm going to keep saying that until my face turn red. Anxiety doesn't make you too much. A lot of anxious people feel ashamed, They think I'm difficult, I ruin relationships, no one will understand me. But you need to reframe that thinking. You're not broken, but your anxiety does require awareness and responsibility. Healing doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means becoming emotionally stable enough to not let fear control your behavior. And sometimes the biggest threat to your relationship isn't the other person, it's the fearful stories your mind keeps telling you. So, the moral to the story is get yourself together because those fears, that anxiety, that overthinking is running your life. And now that you have the information to know what it is, you owe it to yourself to work on it. Healing is ongoing because you're always evolving. And a lot of the stuff that you carry from a child to an adult, you don't delete it. You learn how to manage it and regulate it along the way. That means sometimes something else may trigger something and you have to go back and kind of use the tools that you've gained through the healing journey to make an assessment and reset and retool yourself. So, are there areas of your life where you can understand and become more aware so that it's not really so front facing so more? And you can say, yeah, I handled that, yes. But that doesn't mean that nothing else will ever come across your path. So it's always something that you're always going to have to, as you matriculate in life and change and evolve and grow, you may have to make some adjustments because you're going to be meeting new people. Now, some of y'all are isolated in the house and you never go outside so that you don't have to people and meet people, so that you don't have to worry about being triggered again. And that's your healing journey. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about people that participate in the human experience. You're going to run into relationships, even if you've been married for 10 years. Something may trigger something. Most of us have patterns and things that we don't even recognize are there. So a lot of people that say I'm working on myself, they're not really working on themselves. They're really avoiding. So no, constant triggers bring constant awareness, not healing, right? Like so, like when you're, and those of you on the audio that are on Spotify and the podcast, I'm responding to questions in the live comments. And so the question is, so do constant triggers bring constant healing? So the way that you would kind of like reframe that is that once you have the foundational tools of how to manage, regulate, ground, heal, then when they come, you're going to feel them, and then you will use those tools to kind of help you along the way. And that's why a lot of people will say that healing it's never like something that you can put a pin in and end, because you may have to go and retool and reset yourself. And so it's always something that you're maybe not actively managing, right? Let's say you take 2 months off of work and your kids are away and all of that, and so you're just isolated in your house, then you can say I'm healed, and you be right, right? So it's ongoing because you're ongoing. If you stop and do nothing, then you won't feel any triggers because nobody's around you. So that's why. So could you achieve a point where you understand that you have an abandonment wound and you worked on it, and now you know when it gets triggered and you know how to regulate yourself, and you be like, I'm good? Sure. But if something else triggers you and it comes from a foreign place and you're like, I thought I handled everything, that's why it's ongoing for most people. So hopefully that makes sense. There's a lot of people that I coach, they still need refreshers because they have different experiences in life, and they sometimes know where it comes from, but they may need to make some adjustments. So hopefully that makes sense. Um, we have to learn, and a lot of us need help with learning how to manage that overthinking and that anxiety as it applies to dating. Some of us just have anxiety in life, right? So that's like therapy, and whatever you got to do to help you work on that. But to not work on it means that it's never going to go away. Right? So, like, for an example, if you're still here, Chris, I have been on a couple of healing journeys in my life, and I've understood, right, the blind spots. That's where Coach Tara is absolutely my graduate because she knows exactly where I'm going. Sometimes we learn so much about ourselves during this healing journey and we become aware of ourselves, but sometimes we have blind spots that creep up on us and we don't realize it, right? So, like, I'm a whole coach. I teach people how to understand and to go back and check your patterns and do all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to conflict, I mean, criticism, that's my blind spot. No matter how astute I am in my healing journey, when I get criticism from someone I love, it's something that triggers in me from childhood that even though I have tools, it's a blackout moment for me when somebody say, you always mess up. Those words, they turn me into a different kind, like it does something to me. That wasn't on the original healing track. I didn't even know this was a thing until I started. I was like, why am I reacting this way? Like, somebody had to tell me, your voice just got elevated. I'm like, no, it didn't. And they were like, yeah, it did. It takes you a long time to be like, maybe I did. Because you're so in defense mode. But this is something that you need to work on too. I went to therapy over this. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with, why can I'm smart. Like, I know what my childhood wound. Why is this? So sometimes it's something that you have to continuously make assessments of. And sometimes you don't even realize it until somebody else points it out. Right? Because we don't have like infinite wisdom. Sometimes you may start dating and somebody be like, every time you do this happens. And if you're still in that trauma unhealed space, you won't believe it. You'll push back and tell them they wrong. But once you have more awareness of yourself and how you move around, and you start to say, am I doing that? Like, in your head, like, let me think about this and where that might come, because that might not belong to the person that's making me feel like this. Maybe they're triggering something in the past that's making me feel like this. That's where the higher level of awareness comes from. But I wouldn't have known that outside of a relationship. I'm just sitting at home chilling, single. So that's why it's ongoing. As long as you participate in the human existence, there are always going to be a multitude of things in your life that may trigger you, that you may have to make adjustments, and that's why. But if people sit in isolation, you can use the word healed with an ED because you're not outside, as Coach Tanya would say. If you never go outside, you can call yourself healed with an ED. But is it really healed with an ED if you never worked on anything? So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to extremely affectionately land this plane. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. And next week we're going to do it again on this topic of mental health and love, what no one really wants to talk about, but we're going to talk about it here. So this will be uploaded onto YouTube as a replay. You go to YouTube and Sit Down and Heal as one word. It's the quickest way to find it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the places, all the major podcasting platforms, I'm there. Go back and binge all the older episodes. I think there's like 21 there now. So just go binge them because they all are going to be like this. You're going to get some value out of it and it's going to help you on your journey. But the best, most efficient way is to get help. And that's what I'm here. I'm here to serve. I'm a servant leader. I want to make sure you're good and maybe we can help each other. And I also offer group coaching. So we learn as a group. And you just got to hit me up on a social media platform. Go to sitdownandheal.com and you can email me and look at all the stuff I offer and say, hey, Coach Derek, you offer so much stuff. Where do you think I should start? Because I already looked at the website. I already went to the website and clicked on everything. So I know everything you offer. So all I'm asking you now is, where do you think I need to start, Coach Derek? Wink, wink. Once you go to the website first. So now I want y'all to have an amazing night. And maybe if you come by enough times, you'll eventually be compelled to trust me and to eventually sit down and heal. I'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.
Sit down and heal with Coach Day. Let that old pain breathe and we air it. You already know that you need to heal. Let me show you how.